Wake up! It's the Sleep Unplugged podcast, episode 166. 10 ways to sleep better in a hotel. Take me to the hotel. Welcome, everyone, to the Sleep Unplugged podcast. My name is Chris Winter. I'm a neurologist, sleep specialist, and your host for this episode of the podcast. If you're new to the Unplugged podcast family, welcome. If you're a veteran, welcome back. We're glad you're here. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can. Dr. Chris Winter Instagram, Dr. Chris Winter Twitter, Dr. Chris Winter Bluesky Threads. We have a YouTube page where we post all the video content of our show. We have a web page for the actual podcast where you can find content about the show. This is the last episode of August. It is shocking. We are almost in September. So, if you're a listener of this podcast, the end of every month, we count down the top 10 biggest threats to your sleep and rank them. We call it the top 10 sleep threat power rankings, and they are coming to you in just a minute. We always discuss a musical lyric and a musical guest in the show, and you can find links to those Spotify music playlists on the webpage. I have two books: The Sleep Solution, Why Your Sleep's Broken, How to Fix It, as well as The Rested Child, Why Your Tired, Wired, or Irritable Child May Have a Sleep Problem and How to Fix It. In the last episode we did on sleep and headache, I mentioned Dr. Pepper and Mr. Pibb. I just kind of had this moment during the podcast. You can tell that these podcasts are not particularly scripted. And so during that, I was like, Mr. Pibb, Dr. Pepper, what is this? So I looked it up. Dr. Pepper is much older than Mr. Pibb. It was created in the 1880s by pharmacist Charles Alderton in Waco, Texas. The doctor was added to the name to try to invoke some sort of medicinal property. Dr. Brown's, Dr. Nut, Dr. Wells. It was a marketing ploy. So the pepper origin is even murkier. The most popular theory, although this is completely not proven, is that it was named after Charles T. Pepper, a Virginia physician, and the father of a girl the brand's earlier promoter, Wade Morrison, was supposedly fond of. Other theories suggested it just sounded punchy and memorable. So, fast forward to 1972, my birth year, Mr. Pibb was launched by Coca-Cola as a competitor to Dr. Pepper. It was originally called Peppo, Peppo, but Dr. Pepper sued, saying that that was infringing on the Dr. Pepper trademark. So they went with Mr. Pibb, and the Mr. Pibb was sort of a cheeky, less formal cousin to Dr. Pepper. So there was an association there that was marketing, as we talked about we speculated in the podcast last week, but yeah, so they couldn't sue for the Dr. Mister because it's completely different, but there was a little nod there. So if you were wondering, we like to answer questions that we bring up. And apparently Mr. Pibb was discontinued in 2001, but there is something called Pibb Extra. So I'm not sure exactly how easy it is to get a hold of it these days. But anyway, there you are. So I thought we would move forward with talking about hotel sleep, and this is a great topic. Before we get into it, because our special little mention, our special guest this week is always traveling and is always in a hotel. And what I thought would be fun is we've started doing this top 10 threats to your sleep. And we started this, I think, in May, and we had, so at the end of May, we did one, end of June, we did one, and now at the end of July, or sorry, end of June, July, and now end of August. So this is our fourth top 10 threats to your sleep. And I thought it would be fun. I don't feel entirely comfortable being the only sleep voice on this podcast. I've got blind spots, deficiencies in my knowledge. I think any sort of information sourcing always comes best when it comes from multiple people. I just don't have the time or the patience or the capacity to facilitate that easily by having guests and things like that. So, what I thought was every month we would offer the top 10 list of the previous month to a special guest and let them re-rank it based upon their own criteria, which they can share, or in the case of this person, can be mysterious about it. So the first person I reached out to, so this is the inaugural voter, is Kathy Goldstein, MD. She is professor of neurology at the University of Michigan Sleep Disorders Center. Dr. Goldstein's research uses consumer facing sleep tracking devices and mathematical modeling to assess sleep patterns and circadian rhythms in the ambulatory day to day setting to determine their role in health and disease. She is widely published. She serves the sleep community as one of the senior editors of the sleep field's most sentinel text, Principles and Practice of Sleep Medicine. This is the text that I had to literally read cover to cover over a year during my sleep fellowship at Chapel Hill. She additionally holds editorial roles for the Up to Date and the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine. She was previously the chair of the American Academy of Sleep Medicine's Artificial Intelligence in Sleep Medicine community and speaks internationally in this area. She is also the sleep department's physician champion for virtual care and Epic, and the billing and compliance officer for neurology. I don't know what she did to get in trouble and be named the billing and compliance officer for neurology, but I'm sure that she is serving in that capacity nobly, despite that clearly being a punishment. And again, every time I follow Kathy online or look her up on Instagram, she is traveling somewhere with her husband and two kids. And so I think it's amazing that she gets all this stuff done when she really never goes to Ann Arbor, Michigan, apparently. It's just all just kind of phoned in, I think. So anyway, I presented her last week's top 10 threats to sleep. And I thought, okay, well, I wrote her at the beginning of the month thinking this is a busy professor, sleep specialist, the likes of which I can't even imagine. It's going to take her a while to get back to me if she ever does. No, no, no. Immediately got back to me and ranked everything beautifully. And instead of offering detailed research oriented explanations, simply wrote, I have my reasons. Best. So you're not allowed as the listener, nor am I the host, to question this. But here they are. Top 10 threats to your sleep for the month of August, beginning a month of September. Number one, up for 4 points from last week's, is shift work. Number two, new to the list as of this month, but it's been on the list before. And what I think should definitely be top three is sleep deprivation. Number three, up 5 points, alcohol. Number four, once again, new to the list. I thought it should be there. It hasn't been there for maybe the last 1 or 2 months, was chronic use of sleeping pills. Number five, down 4 spots, light at night. Number six, down 3 spots, irregular sleep schedule. Number seven, down 5 spots is cognitive hyperarousal. Number eight, new to the list as of this month, late night eating or late night meals. Number nine, down 5 spots, sleeping hot. And finally, number 10, caffeine in the afternoon. So again, number one, the top threat to your sleep, working our way down. Maybe we should read them going 10 to 1 for more suspense. But I think just it being Kathy's list alone and her saying to us, don't you worry about it. I've got my reasons. That's suspense enough for me. I want to thank Kathy for taking the time to do this fun thing. You should look up her research if you're interested in outstanding research on wearables. She is the source. So quickly, want to talk very fast about Credence Clearwater Revival. Credence Clearwater Revival is the group we're talking about, very active in the very late 60s, early 70s. And the lyric in our podcast title, Take Me to the Hotel, was Travelin' Band, which was the B-side to Who'll Stop the Rain off of their fifth album, Cosmos. I think it was Cosmos Factory. And they were huge, like bigger than the Beatles, I believe, in 1969. And at the peak of their popularity, just gone, broke up, always fighting. John Fogerty was incredibly controlling of the band. And interestingly, never had a top number one song, although they had, I think, five number two hits, but never had a number one hit. Yeah, they had five singles that were number two, never had a number one. Proud Mary, Bad Moon Rising, Green River, Looking Out My Back Door, and this one, Traveling Band slash Who'll Stop the Rain. They were actually at Woodstock, although they were not actually in the original cut of the Woodstock film, which I never quite understood. Broke up while they were at their peak. John Fogerty, very controlling of the sound and the way they rehearsed, the way they performed. They sounded like a very Southern band, but they were all from California. So we'll put Creedence Clearwater Revival, Who'll Stop the Rain, Traveling Band on the Spotify Music playlist. So I thought this would be a fun episode we could do. I'm in the process of going to Copenhagen. I like to travel. I travel quite a bit, both pleasure travel and business travel. And so I think sleeping well in a hotel is really a really important thing to sort of think about when we travel, because for a lot of people, it gives people stress and anxiety. For a lot of people, it is the thing that started their insomnia. I was doing really well and I had to sleep in a hotel and I got all screwed up, and then that was that. So, what are some things we can do to minimize the impact of hotel sleep? We talk about this a lot with patients, with clients, with athletes who travel a lot for their work. I need to go to this hotel, sleep my best so I can perform my best, present my best, do whatever I'm doing the next day. So, number one, I think optimizing the hotel for light is extremely important. If you've ever been to a hotel, it can sometimes be very difficult to get the hotel as dark, maybe as the room you have at home, because the curtains are thin, they don't come together easily. There are other lights in the room that you're having control issues over, difficulty getting light from coming underneath the door, etc. So I used to tell patients all the time, travel with some duct tape. This will allow you to put a strip of duct tape underneath a door to keep the light from coming in. Flashing light on a microwave oven, put it on there. Can't get the curtains to stay closed, the duct tape can hold them together. I think using some sort of sleep mask is a much easier, maybe more elegant way to do that. So, packing that sleep mask, we've had wonderful sleep masks on the podcast before, sponsored Side Sleeper Sia Silk, Manta. They all make really great masks. I travel with the Side Sleeper Z mask in my bag at all times. It is always with me because I always travel with the travel bag. The travel bag has earplugs and a sleeping mask, so it's always going to be there. Number two, controlling temperature, managing body heat. Setting your room temperature to about 65 degrees makes a lot of sense. Getting into the hotel room and doing that almost right away, and making sure that the thermostat in your hotel room is working before it's time to go to bed, when you realize, hey, we can get the temperature down below 72 here. Trying to cool down before bed makes a lot of sense. This is probably not the best time to hit the hotel gym before you go to sleep. So a cooler shower, cooler clothing where you sleep can make a big difference. And traveling with fans or requesting fans, sometimes hotels will actually be able to provide a fan for you to make things a little bit cooler, using them strategically. We've bought these little fans that we can clip to our clothing when we take our dogs for a walk. I'm shocked by how long they actually blow air on the lowest setting, and they can be recharged with a cell phone. So sitting it right next to your bed, having it blow a little cool air on you can be very helpful. I think traveling with a cooler pillow, if you have the capacity to do that, that is great. My tip is, if you're bringing your own pillow when you travel, I want you to buy a cooling pillowcase that is not white, like bright pink or bright green. Because if you don't, there's a very good chance that when you walk out of that hotel room, you're going to leave your pillow behind when you do that last little scan for things you've forgotten. Having a lime green pillow sitting there on the bed can be really helpful. So when athletes, I tell athletes when they travel, put your team's logo on a pillowcase or just get a different colored pillowcase. Do not use white. Number three, reducing noise and adding soothing sounds. A lot of hotel rooms these days are coming with some sort of sound machine, which I think is awesome. You can bring your own. I use the little yoga sleep hockey puck looking one. They make a little white one that's very cheap and does three different kinds of white noise at different volumes. It's rechargeable with a cell phone. There's a newer one that I use. I can't remember the name of it. It's made by Yoga Sleep as well too. It's black and just a little bit more high end. Very easy to travel with, takes up no space, and is awesome. Making sure you're wearing or have with you at least some foam earplugs, the little cheap ones you get at the store. There's some really nice ones that we're going to do an entire podcast about electronic and non-electronic sleeping earplugs that'll come up. So be on the lookout for that episode. It is on its way. As soon as I get back from my current travel, I'm going to put that episode together. Lots of great companies have agreed to donate, give me their earpods for sleep, and I'm currently testing them out as we speak. Number four, bring something familiar. This is where I get into the five senses: taste, touch, smell, feel. I think touch and feel are the same thing. You know what the five senses are. So for me, you can accomplish a couple smell and taste with taking with you some chamomile tea that you like. So every hotel room I know of has got a little place where you can make some hot water. So brew some tea and bring your little get some Z's tea or whatever you like, the little packages, throw them in your bag. They're dry, there's no fluid to them. You can make it when you get in there. So now your hotel room is being flooded with the smell of chamomile and the taste. So you're warming your body temperature with the tea, you're tasting the chamomile, you're smelling the chamomile. It's a wonderful way to sort of get yourself ready for sleep that's coming. People have talked about incense, which I'm always worried about burning something in a hotel room, but certainly, something like that that smells nice. Even sleeping masks, some of them actually have lavender in them. So that could be a nice way to combine sight, which is we want no sight. We want it dark when we sleep with that smell. I've got a couple of lavender sleep masks and they're really, really nice. Taste we've talked about, smell we've talked about, light none, sound, the noise machine. So if you use that noise machine when you're at home, using it on the road can give that sort of sense of familiarity. The lavender sprays we've talked about. I keep a lavender spray on my bedside table, one in my travel bag. When I get to the hotel room, spray it on the pillow, spray it on my partner's pillow if she's with me. And we have that same smell on the road that we do at home. What else? Did we hit them all? Hearing, yeah, earplugs, sight, taste, smell, and touch. Touch is, again, pillow, special blanket, pajamas. I just got some amazing pajamas from a company called Dasmingen. They're I believe they're Scandinavian. No, they're Swiss. Yeah, they're a Swiss company. And Dasmingen, these are outstanding pajamas, and we'll do a whole episode on pajamas coming up. They're fantastic. We should check them out. Keep your routine at home on the road. It's very tempting to let everything go when we're traveling. I always try to find a gym and get into it at night. I always try to watch a little television. I'll talk to my partner. Hey, what are you watching? Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and watch that new episode of The Gilded Age, or we just finished watching The Better Sister, which was outstanding. Oh my God, there's some really good acting in that. So I try to find out what's happening at home, and then I'll just kind of watch that same thing if I can. So watch the same thing, wind down, check some emails, go to the gym, a little snack or hydrate before I go to bed, lavender spray. Like keep that rhythm when you're in the hotel room. It can really, really make a big difference. Guided meditations, relaxation, yoga before bed. I think all those kind of relaxation techniques are wonderful things to bring into the environment of your hotel. Number seven, practice good sleep hygiene, which we've sort of talked about. Like this is kind of when we travel, we tend to throw those things out the window. We're drinking with dinner, we're staying up late to see all the sights. So really working to try to keep those things together, but understanding that when we do stay up later, we do have a couple extra drinks because we went to a special dinner, or I'm going to Copenhagen, so it's going to be light out much longer because of the northern, much higher up in the the closer to the poles. God, what am I trying to say here? And with that, you tend to get longer summer days and longer winter nights kind of thing. So there's a very good chance we'll have dinner and go out and go do something because it'll still be light out. So in the best you can, kind of trying to keep that strategy of sleep hygiene together, but giving yourself some grace and forgiveness when it doesn't work out perfectly. Number eight, bring or upgrade your comfort, bedding, pillow support. A lot of hotels now have the ability to choose your own pillow, so make use of that. If when you check in, like, hey, I've got these massive pillows on the bed. Is there any way I can get a thinner pillow that matches more like what I would typically sleep with? If you're in a colder place when you're traveling, getting extra blankets and things like that can really make a difference. You really want to try to set yourself up to succeed as much as you can when it comes to light when you're checking in. Hey, what side of the hotel does the sun come up? Can I get a room on the other side of that so that early sunrise is not disrupting my sleep? Number nine, environmental enhancements and sensory enhancements, linen sprays, eucalyptus, lavender scents, sound therapy, wellness design programs. A lot of, hotels have these things available to you. Have you seen the little roll-ons that you can kind of roll onto your temple, that kind of aromatherapy? These things may not be out in every situation, but they can be available. When I was at Equinox Hotel not too long ago, they had, soaps and lotions that you should use when you wake up. So if you like to shower when you wake up, use this invigorating mint and eucalyptus soap. When you're getting ready to go to bed, we have this chamomile, passion flower, lavender soap. I'm making those up, but they had different soaps for different times to go to bed. We've talked about that even with toothpaste. Mint toothpaste when you wake up, the lavender toothpaste when you go to sleep. I've been using this non-fluoride toothpaste. I'm blanking on the name of it. I'm so sorry. But there's mint and there was like cocoa ginger and then there was lavender, something else were the three flavors. And I kind of use the flavor based upon when I'm brushing my teeth. Mint in the morning, lavender when I go to bed, and the ginger one sort of in the middle of the day if I tend to brush my teeth. And finally, managing circadian rhythms and jet lag. There's all kinds. This is a great time to use melatonin. I'm traveling. When I travel, I will take my typical Natrol supplement and I'm going to grab the Natrol supplement that does have melatonin in it for my travel to and from Copenhagen. Just as a disclaimer, I do work for Natrol. There are other supplements out there that you can use. I like them because they're high quality. In fact, I did something for Natrol, and Kathy Goldstein, who we talked about at the top of the show, wrote me and said, this is one of the supplements that we like to use here at our university. Again, that is not an endorsement from either Kathy or the University of Michigan about the supplement Natrol, but some of them are just more quality controlled than others, which is why I agreed to even work with Natrol because I believe in their product and I take their product. Again, it's not a solution to my sleep, but it's a great way to set the stage for slightly better sleep night in and night out. And I think controlled smart use of melatonin when you travel can be a great way to incorporate that in there so you hit the ground in Copenhagen running and you're not falling asleep looking at the Little Mermaid statue. Jet lag rooster, there's all kinds of jet lag calculators you can look up. So if you have the ability to kind of plan out your trip beforehand, this gives you a chance to, set the stage and plan out when you're going to use light, when you're going to use melatonin, when you should exercise, when you should eat to manage that travel to and from your destination. These are the kinds of things we did with the Dodgers and the Padres when they traveled to Korea and Japan to get them ready to play baseball when they got there, but also the same thing when they were traveling back to their spring training facility so we can get them back and acclimated to that time zone quickly as well too. So again, darkness and low light, control the temperature, control noise, create familiarity in your environment, consistent routine, relax, keep that sleep hygiene up. Think about sensory aids and think about your circadian rhythm when you travel. We should probably do an episode about sleeping on an airplane, which I think we did one time, but if we didn't, we'll pull that up as well too. So that's it. Tell me where you're traveling. Tell me how you make that hotel room the best you can make it for your sleep. We're interested in hearing about you. Dr. Chris Winter, Instagram, Dr. Chris Winter, Twitter, Bluesky Threads. Again, check out the YouTube page. Check out the Sleep Unplugged podcast musical playlist. Check out Kathy Goldstein. Big thanks to her for the top 10 list at the end of next month. We'll have a new special sleep expert who will weigh in on Kathy's picks. And until next week, sleep well.